One way to handle exceptions is by customizing the properties file. And right here, you see that we get a status code 500, the error, and the message is empty. So one way to fix the message, and basically we want this right here to be included in our message, because currently, remember, you saw that if I send this, and right here, you can see that customer with ID 3 not found. So if we want that included in this message field right here, we can do as follows. So let me just collapse this. You can go to properties, so resources, and then application.properties. And again, we haven't covered much about application.properties, and I'm going to teach you later on how to use it properly. But for now, let's just set some properties so that we can have the message included in our payload that we send from the client, from the server to our clients. So here we're going to say server, and then dot, and then error, and then include message. And then here I'm going to say always. And let's also say include, and then binding. And here I'm going to say always. And let's also include the stack trace. So here I'm going to say include, include, and then stack trace. And here let's just say for now on request param. So basically here we actually have a couple of options. We can say always, on param, on trace param. But basically, let me just say always in here, and that's it. So now let's just restart the application, and I've set these to, especially this one, to always. But for example, if you are in production, then you might set this to never. But for testing purposes, I just want you to see exactly what the message will contain. So now here you see that we have 500. If I send the request with customer 3, we know that this customer does not exist in our system. I'm going to send the request and check this out. So now you can see that the response that the client has is much better. So have a look. So we have, well, let me actually rephrase that. It's not much better, it's slightly better, right? So here we have 500 and then internal server error, and this is a trace. So this is what this property is doing. And then here, so you can see that this is quite long, to be honest. But then what I'm interested is customer with ID 3 not found. So this is what these the above annotations are doing, right? So here, remember, inside of our customer service, so customer service. So if I put this full screen, you can see that we threw an illegal state exception, and this was the message. Now this is actually captured in here. So this is really nice. So let me actually go back to applications.property, and here I'm going to say on trace param. So I don't want that to be always there. So let's just restart the application. Now, if I go back, if I send, you can see that we don't have, you know, the stack trace, but what I can do is just say question mark and then trace equals to true. So if I send, you can see that now we have the option to actually include the trace, right? So this is slightly better. So let me actually remove this from here because I don't need that. So I just wanted to show you how to basically configure that. And there you go. So this is one way of handling exceptions. Now this way, it's kind of hacky, and you can see that although it works, it doesn't tell us the full picture, because right here, the status code, so the status code, and we're going to cover status code next. So the status code does not reflect the error, right? Because the client has submitted or has requested data for a customer that does not exist, right? So technically this is not an internal server error. So this is a client error. An internal server error is when something really bad has gone wrong with our code. So next, let me teach you about status codes, and then I'm going to show you better ways of dealing with exceptions.